Mic check 1 2 1 2. I do believe the audio is okay. Let me just on. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. The audio is so bad. Mic check 1 2. So welcome to the first stream of this forex journey. Now I want to share the entire screen and also the audio. Now this is how it's going to be. Oh, can I call you back? Hi, mambo just poa sana. Uko fiti? What a way to start the stream. What a way, what a way, what a way. Now, NFP, in the next 9 minutes to go, we are going to have non-farm payroll, one of the most volatile news releases, one of the most impactful news releases because it deals with employment. How are people being employed? How are people losing jobs? What are their average hourly earnings? And we are going to see that in the next 7 minutes, 43 seconds to go, whereby we are going, this is the highlight of the day, the average hourly earnings and the non-farm employment change plus the unemployment rate. Now, the most important to look out for is the non-farm employment change. And later on at 6:25 p.m., we are going to have the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who is going to be speaking to us very soon. Now, this is after the tariffs, and we want to know what is his view on the financial markets, on the financial economy for these upcoming few trading months. Remember, his contract is about to go out next year, early next year, and let's wait and see. Let's see what this guy has in store for us. But the most important news that you're going to anticipate, as mentioned, is going to be the non-farm payroll in the next 6 minutes, 51 seconds. Now, for me personally, we are going to be looking at the Habu, one of the most volatile assets on planet Earth, one of the most emotional assets in the forex market. If it hears anything, fununu, about wars, if it hears anything about inflation, if it hears anything that might be distressing to an economy, it usually buys and buys and buys, like the way we have been seeing happen in the previous few sessions. Now, what are we anticipating for news today? No one knows, eh? Let me split this screen so that we might get a much better in-depth view of what the financial market is about to offer us in the next 6 minutes, 3 seconds, and counting. So this is going to be my view. I usually like using buy stops and sell stops. Let me clear everything here. Remove 25 drawings. Okay. This is where I usually start my analysis from. Now, this week has been very interesting. Eh? It has been very interesting, whereby we did open on Monday and then the markets did buy. Where is Monday? Monday come here. Here you are. So this was the opening price of Monday. 24th. Was it 24th? Nah, it was not fast. This one here. This was the Monday opening prices for this particular current week. Now, this is the first trading week of the month also. Okay. So the month did begin. Technically speaking, it did begin on 1st Tuesday, but this week began on 31st. So the markets opened here. Look at what happened. The markets rallied to the upper side because we were anticipating a few news releases. Now, come Wednesday, Liberation Day for the United States of America, whereby Trump did say that we are going to tax. It's going to be reciprocal tariffs, whereby what they do to us, we do to them. What they do to them, they do to us, and vice versa. I hope you get the point. Now, looking at this, after the tariffs, prices dumped over 1,000 pips in a day. It was more than 1,000 pips. More than 3.5% of the total value. It was 1,125.4 pips. Then the market started rejecting that zone. This question, what does this mean? Because for the markets to buy, it has to sell. For the markets to sell, it has to buy. Institutions. Looking at this price, and we'll look into the commitment of traders. This is going to be one of the longest streams I've ever, more than 4 hours length. I do believe so. It's going to be more than 4 hours. Whereby we want to see Friday. Friday, and I'm going to show you a very interesting pattern that I've seen in the markets happen so many times. Friday is the day whereby the market takes the breather. From everything that's been happening, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. So we are going to anticipate NFP. I don't want to speculate because no one knows what's going to happen next. Absolutely no one knows what's going to happen next in the financial markets. So the only thing is to wait and see. Now, what I usually do is analyzed using my PC, execute on my phone. For me, I find it works better. That's just my personal preference. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to have a buy limit just below this low. I'm going to target all-time highs. Could we reach today? I don't know. How many pips is this? 300. It's a lot of pips. Let's have it at 150. So I'm going to have two positions. Huh? The first I'm going to be here. I'm going to have the same stop loss. Now for the first trade, I'm going to have it as I'm going to use this one as a lower lot size. So this is 400 pips, meaning a 0.1 is $400. Okay. So I'm going to enter 0.05 as the first order. So I'm going to have a buy limit at just below this low at 30.77. A buy limit at 30.77. I'm going to have it at 0. Okay, so that's good risk management just on my account. Now for the second trade, I'm going to have much more. This is 150 pips, so 0.1 is 150, 0.2 is 300. So this one I'm going to have it at 0.2. Okay, the traps are set in the next 48 seconds to go. Let me screen record so that people don't think I'm a bot here. So let me screen record also on my end. Let me put my phone on DND. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is whereby if you're a faithful person, if you believe in God, whatever you think works for you, you do it. 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Hold on, I need to find out. Let's see. Pending. Boom. That was weak. Okay, the numbers are not yet out. The markets are still not yet reacting. Come on. So 228,000, of which that's really good. That's really, really good. So we were forecasting 137,000 jobs to be created. The number has actually come out at 228,000 jobs, which is higher than forecast. Huh? Nearly 90 something thousand more jobs, of which it's really good. Now unemployment rate, this is worrying. Now unemployment rate, yes, more people have gotten jobs, but the unemployment rate has gone higher. Okay, the average hourly earnings still constant at 0.3, still constant at 0.3%, of which there is no change. But let's wait for, so it's now 3:31. I will anticipate. I really like trading gold after 5 p.m. This is East African time. So this is UTC. If you want to convert it to your local time, you can do so. But UTC plus 3. So in the next 1 hour 30 minutes is when I will be very interested in looking. But right now, currently, I have positions running. I do have 2 positions. So this is going to be the first position. This is going to be the second position. Now the beauty of these positions, I can hold over them. I will hold them. I will hold them through the Fed chair Payrolls speak, because I do believe this is where the volatility in the marketplace is going to come through. Yeah. at exactly 6:25. So this is going to be a very, 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 very long stream. So in the meantime, this is where Forex is all about patience, and patience is a virtue. You have to find something that you're going to be doing as you wait for the orders to be triggered. Currently, at the moment, price is at 30.93. My first position is at 30.77. Then my other position, so the bigger position, so I have the bigger position at 30.54.22. On my screen it's 0.31, but as a result of the recording, so let's go through the data. It's not yet updated. Let's refresh the page. Okay, here you are. So when you refresh the page, usually the document is released here. You can see this is bls.government. This is nbcnews.com at yahoo.com. So when you go to anything that has .gov to it, it means it's a government document. So this is the NFP, okay? So this document here is the non-farm payroll, this one here. So total non-farm payroll employment rose by 228,000 in March, and the unemployment rate changed little at 4.2%. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today jobs occurred in healthcare. So healthcare took a really good spike in terms of employment, social assistance, and in transportation and warehousing. Employment also increased in retail trade, partially reflecting the return of workers from a strike. This news release presents statistics from two monthly surveys. The household surveys measures labor force status, including unemployment by demographic characteristics. The establishment survey measures non-farm employment, hours, and earnings by industry. Now, we want to look at the key data. Both the unemployment rate at 4.2%, which is slightly higher compared to the last month's number, and the number of unemployed people standing at 7.1 million. That is quite significant, changed little in March. The unemployment rate remained in a narrow range of 4.0% to 4.2% since May 2024. Among the major worker groups, the unemployment rates for adult men 3.8, adult women 3.7, teenagers 13. So teenagers are the people who don't have a lot of jobs. Whites being 3.7%, blacks more than twice, nearly. Asians 3.5%, Hispanics 5.1%, showed little or no change in March. Now, the number of long-term unemployed, those jobless for more than 27 weeks or more, at 1.5 million, changed little in March. The long-term unemployment accounted for 21.3% of all unemployed people. The labor force participation rate at 62.5% changed little over the month and over the year. The employment population ratio held at 59.9%. Now, the number of people employed part-time for economic reasons, those are doing odd jobs, at 4.8 million, changed little in March. These individuals would have preferred full-time employment but were working part-time because of their hours had been reduced, or they were unable to find full-time jobs. So this is at 4.8 million. That's a quite significant amount of people. Now, the number of people not in the labor force who currently want a job was essentially unchanged at 5.9 million in March. These individuals were not counted as unemployed because they were not actively looking for work during the 4 weeks preceding the survey. So non-farm employment is all about a survey, yeah? Now we are looking at this data. As a trader, you want to know, okay, where is the general economy headed to? Now, establishment of survey data. Total non-farm payroll employment rose by 228,000 in March, higher than the average monthly gain of 158,000 prior to the 12 months. In March, job gains occurred in healthcare, as mentioned, social assistance, transportation, and warehousing, particularly retail. So we have seen retail, even though last month's numbers of retails were very worrying, but the jobs created in the retail sector are climbing, of which this is good for us as traders. I'm not in the United States, but if I was to look at the economy, yes, retail sales did come out negative last month, but the people who are gaining jobs in the retail sector are improving. So, meaning we might see retail sales in the near future improving because labor and output is directly correlated. Now, Continuing on with the data, healthcare added 54,000 jobs in March, in line with the average monthly gain of 52,000. So this is above average, slightly above average over the 12 months period. Over the month, employment continued to trade in ambulatory health care services plus 20,000, hospitals 17K, and nursing and residential care facilities 17,000. So the healthcare is tick in the United States of America. Now moving on to social assistance 25K, retail 24K, as workers were returning from a strike. What strike was this? Let's just confirm. This is 1st October. Nearly 100,000 workers. That's quite significant. Are working off the job over contract negotiations with the employers, ranging from dock workers to Boeing employees. The latest to join the picket line as of midnight Tuesday as 45. Now is it 45,000 and 450,000 dock workers from mine to Texas? Okay, so these are the people who are coming back into work. Huh? Now, this is a good thing about studying the data, and that doesn't include 33,000 Boeing workers, primarily in its manufacturing sector. Yeah, Boeing did have a very big problem last year, so the markets are still lingering about. Okay, so that's good to know. People who were on strike last year are now returning back to their workplaces, which is good, which is really really good. Hmm. Continuing to transportation and warehouse rose by 23,000. Now this is just still part of retail, about double the prior 12-month average gain of 12,000 jobs. Now within government, federal government employment declined by, okay, so anticipated, yes. We want to go down first slightly, then we go up, eh? We want to go down. Gold, go down. GBPSD is not even reacting. The markets are very quiet, but this is good. This means that the markets, okay, yes, 30 is tanking. Even Nasdaq is sinking. Nasdaq has been sinking ever since the tariffs. I remember this trade. This was very painful. US 500 is something. What's the dollar index up to? So the dollar index, these were the tariffs, but currently at the moment nothing's happening. Bitcoin is still there. Okay, so let's put our focus on gold today. Let me do this. So these are the positions I'm in currently. Okay, the first one has been activated. So 3077.8 has been activated. So this one has been activated. So we are very active on this trade. Could we still push further to the downside? Let's wait and see for the volatility. So continuing on with the data. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So about the average hourly earnings, huh? In March, the average work week for all employees on private non-farm payrolls was changed at 34.2 hours. Manufacturing 40.2 hours, and overtime was unchanged at 2.9 hours. The average work week for production and non-supervisory employees on private non-farm payrolls increased by 0.2 hours to 33.8 hours in March. Now the change in total non-farm payroll on January was revised down by 14,000. Okay, so that's very good because when you look at this data, mhm, there's usually a revision. There's usually a revision even here. So let's focus on. Let's have the revision. Yeah, so last month's data, this was the forecast. So forecast was around 159,000. The actual number came out at 151, then the revised number was 117. So this is the previous number, what you see here. So if you look at this, this is the revision. Huh? This is the revised number. So even this one will anticipate a revision. It can never be 228,000 jobs exactly to the T. So there are going to be people who are going to be laid off. There is usually a revision. That's these numbers. There is a theory that these numbers sometimes are doctored, and usually this is why we have the revisions. So we'll want to see, but this one usually comes later, during at least 2 or 3 weeks into the data. So that's when we get the revision. But so the first position is retracing currently at the moment. It's now 343 UTC plus 3. The majority of the move, I know it's still ahead of us. So with this first trade, I think I'm going to lower my take profit. We do have relatively equal highs at 136.49. So that's quite significant. That's quite a distance from one to five. That's like 500 pips. But gold can do that. Oh my lord, we have started moving. Eesh. Look at that. Look at that. That's wonderful. So 500 pips, very doable. Very doable. With the amount of lot size that I'm on, it can be something decent for the weekend. So what I'm going to do is have my take profit for this trade at 31.36. So what I'm going to do is this. It's still a risk to reward ratio of 1 is to 1.5, which is doable. I like that. Okay. So that's going to be the daily highs also for today's candlestick. Okay. Fanya buy Kimangoto from 3053. Eh, nimeweka hapo hivyo. Yeah, that's why I have my entry. But I'm currently in a position. TP 3166. Yeah, like-minded traders, huh? Like-minded traders. Uh-huh. So what you can do right now is just a waiting game, eh? As we wait for Fed chair. The market will play around. That's something we usually know. It will do that. I remember back in the days when we were trading, hey, the markets were very volatile in terms of NFP just came out and then we had spikes all over, like 100, 200 pips blowing people's accounts. Nowadays, we don't get that. Nowadays, the market waits for people to get into positions and then we get the spike. So yeah, let's wait and see. Leo nimejipanga. Leo I have have a lot of with me. As I mentioned, it's going to be a very long live stream, so as I wait for this position to materialize itself, so let's say if we might check out this 31.36 before the day ends. If we were to look at the daily candlestick, we do have like 8 hours to go. It's decent. Gold can push. Yesterday the markets moved how many pips? It was here. How many hours it is? In less than 12 hours, we got 1,000 pips. Less than 1,000. Damn, more than 1,000 hours. So let's try going over all of these. Oh, so we had also news for Canada, but I don't usually like focusing on Canada. China announces extra 34% of tariffs on US goods from April. There, it's a trade war. This is literally a trade war. So this guy, I'm very interested to see what Jerome will say when the time comes to, especially during the question and answer. That's where we get majority of the volatility in the financial markets. Like, what's your take on this? What's your take on that? And that usually pushes prices aggressively. But for today, so it's currently 349 UTC plus 3. I want to wait these. I want to wait these out kidogo. I want to do a bit of journaling, prepare as we wait for prices to continue to where it wants to go. So this is forex trading for those who enter a position. So currently, I think I'm more or less around BE, more or less. Yeah, a few dollars, not that fancy. It's around entry price currently. Yeah. So let's wait and see. Let me have my stop loss for this trade. 30, 38. Okay, let's have it at 30, 40. Okay. So the equal highs, huh? Whenever you have equal highs in the market, especially when there's high impact news and releases to be anticipated, this acts as a potential price magnet. So let me just highlight it here. Potential price magnet. Remember, the market moves from regions of liquidity to regions of liquidity. Okay. Oh, so 30, 30, 31 point 31.36. Commitment of traders is not yet updated. So just familiarize ourselves with the numbers before. So we had, actually, let me journal this. So as of 25th March, I do believe it was last week Tuesday. Yeah. So as of 25th March, we had 213k long positions. So this is the long positions here. 213,505 long positions and 38,770. So this is 38,773 short positions. Now, for us retail traders, what you want to do is look at the short-term gains. So short-term is negative 7,374. So before today ends, these numbers is going to be updated, and we want to see how many positions were offloaded, how many positions were added. So when an institution, so this is basically institutions, you can look at this. Now the numbers recently have been increasing. I do believe previously it was like 90 something. I'm not wrong. So the numbers of traders, this is only 100 traders, eh? And if you were to do the mathematics, let's just do a bit of mathematics here. To know the scale of how much money is being pushed in the financial market. So this is only 110 traders, eh? Now, this is the contract of 100 troy ounces. So as of 25th March, was it March? 25th March, prices of gold, let's say it was around $3,000 an ounce. So it's going to be 3,000 multiplied by 100. So this is what you see here. It's $3,000. So currently the price of gold is trading at $3,070 an ounce. An ounce is like 28 grams or something. Now, this is one digit here is going to represent 100 troy ounces. So one contract is going to represent 100 troy ounces. So to get the value of one digit, you multiply 3,000 by 100 to get the value of one contract. So the value of one contract here is worth $300,000. Now, if you multiply $300,000 times 7,374 contracts, so this is the amount of money that has been offloaded from these 110 people ever since it was 25th March. So from 18th March to 25th here, from 18th March to 25th March, $2.2 billion, $2.2 billion. My road, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So this one is lagging data. Yes, it is lagging data, but it shows you how are investors moving money around. Now, if institutions, we will, what I speculate is for this week's data, we shall see the prices, we shall see more positions being added on gold because of the Trump's tariffs. Okay, now because of everything that was happening, we will anticipate that these numbers are going to, we are going to see an addition in terms of the in terms of the long positions. So you want to look at managed money. Yeah? This is disaggregated, meaning it's going to be broken down into producers, merchants, swap dealers, other reportables. For us traders, you want to focus on managed money. So prices are currently tanking, which is good. I want it to go slightly down because the big position is here, and I would want it to hit the big position. So this is what you call a martingale strategy. A martingale is whereby you enter a position, you anticipate, you don't know how far the ball will go to the downside before it starts bouncing. So what you would want to see is that enter a small position and then add the position as time goes by. And have a mango. The African society, it is crucial, especially when you have like 4 hours waiting for an execution, waiting for a trade to play out. So the next 1 hour candle has just begun. Huh? So this is 4 p.m. UTC +3. Never forget that. Chai is very crucial. Chai is going to enable you to watch the charts. Like if you are in Africa, no explanation needed. So the 1 hour candle. Now I want to show you something. I want to show you something. A very interesting strategy here. Look at how this candlestick is going to open now. If you're anticipating a downward candlestick to print, this is the opening price, the high created, then the low, then the final closing prices. So if you're looking at the 1 hour time frame, and then within the first 1 hour, this happens, whereby prices create a high, there is no weak bardo. You might anticipate that there is a possibility you can short this market there, stop loss just above this high, and then you can target anything based off the previous candlestick. So this is what is happening. But I usually like to watch out this strategy within the first 5 minutes. So if I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame, and this is what I'll be looking into tomorrow, whereby we are going to be backtesting this session, but it's going to be very private, where anticipate the first 5 minutes, and there are different time frames. So if you're looking at the H1 time frame, you look at a specific period of time. If you're looking at the H4 time frame, you're looking at a specific period of time, the daily, so on and so forth. But okay, so this is a very good explanation. Look at how this candlestick is forming. So it's the first 58 minutes of this candlestick. Now you're asking yourself, okay, let's wait and see what it's going to do first within the first 5 minutes. So the first 5 minute candlestick has less than 2 minutes to go. Good, 2, 3. but I would like to see it move fast down to the downside and then pick up. If you have any inquiry, hit my DM. I have a very nasty injury. So for the commitment of traders, I do believe we're done with this data. So we'll want to see an improvement on these numbers. These numbers here, we'll want to see them improve. So let's wait and see. Forgotten to take a screenshot of this. I think I'll enter a sell position in the meantime. Okay, if the next 5 minute candlestick starts rejecting these highs, if the next 5 minute candlestick starts reject, you can see it has 55 seconds to give. If it doesn't reject those highs, I might enter a sell position to these lows. Let's wait and see. In the meantime, journaling is very crucial. Okay, so the next 5 minutes has begun. Okay, this is a very good trade. So the 1 hour started rejecting. It has started rejecting those highs. So what I'm gonna do is very tight stop loss. Stop loss at 30.80. I'm going to target the lows of the day. So this is going to take profit at 30.55. Download image. So this is a 1 hour trade. It's not supposed to go past an hour. It's about to take me out. Okay. So, so that was an SL. Now what you do, you take another screenshot. So this was the initial position. So this is going to be on the 5 minute, huh? But the trade was taken best of the 1 hour time frame. It was taken alafu ina retrace. Takes you out and then starts retracing. There's this book I've been reading. Very interesting. You have to digest a lot of information for it to be good in the financial market. It's full time. We will have eternity to celebrate the victories, but only a few hours before sunset to win them. Very powerful. I've been growing a mustache. Eating has been very difficult. Okay, so for the day, stop loss ya kwanza, small lot size. Usually, if it doesn't happen at 4 p.m., it happens at 5 p.m. UTC plus 3. So we're going to see how that goes. There's this thing I've always wanted to know. When the cork, when I've always wondered, like how do cocks know when to? Do they know about time? Cockadoodle doo. Oh my lord, no one knows. No one knows. Internal clock. What does it mean by having an internal clock? Because they are somehow very accurate with time. I don't know how. So meaning like, and this applies to forex for those who don't know, eh? In terms of, it's always a chart of price against time. So time is very crucial. If a rooster knows when to crow, the markets obviously know when to push. Because who invented time? Who invented time? Not invented but discovered time. More than 3,500 years ago. Rather, it's a concept that emerged gradually in human consciousness. Okay, so for humans it emerged. Eh? For roosters it was always there. Various ancient civilizations began to observe and measure time independently, contributing to its understanding over the centuries. For figures like Galileo made significant contributions to time measurement. The concept. Okay, there's a lot of things that we don't know about the financial marketplace that we would want to know. $30.86. So we're still quite like 500 pips exactly from our target. 500 pips is a lot. It's currently, whoa, time is time is moving slow. Which it's good. We want to see. Let's wait and see how things are going to go ahead for us in this particular execution. So being a Friday, the markets are relaxed currently. I'm certain this week is going to close bullish with everything that's happening. So the data did come up positive, but not entirely. We did have an employment rate going higher, and that's alarming. If you look at the graph, ever since 2020, 2023. Let's say February. August 2021. Okay. If you were to look at this, ever since April 2022, jobs, people have been losing jobs with an increase. Huh? If you look at the forecast, like today we have beaten forecast at 4.2%. So I want to hear Jerome Powell's speech. Like it's usually very interesting. It's like he always has the same introduction to all of his speeches, but but they do have impact. They do have impact in the financial marketplace. So let's patience is a virtue. This is whereby you're in a position you learn to sit on your hands and wait. But the data is not that bad. But in an economy of nearly 300 million, what's the population for US? I do believe 330, 330 million, I do believe. 340 million. So if you look at an economy of that a lot of people, less than 100,000 jobs is not a lot. It's a drop of. What you'll want to look at is the trends of the marketplace. So this 1 hour candlestick has 40 minutes to go. Let's wait it out. This is whereby you get books to read. What are you going to do? I like gaming, but I don't want to game. It's really actually let's game as we wait for. Hmm, let's have it at 5 minutes. I do believe 5 minutes is a perfect balance of 5 is perfect. Let's have it in here. Okay, Munish from India. Munish, what's happening? Munish is not there. Munish, okay. He's going to bring out the queen. Munish, you're thinking so much. Uh-huh. This is one of those games that really helped me become a better person in terms of trading, especially playing faster games, like quick decisions. So currently we are in profit. We are in profit. Munish, man, Munish, play. What's Munish up to? Oh, Munish, is this a psychological trick this guy is playing on me, or? Yeesh. Let's hope we're going to get someone who's competitive. Sroz Zoradmo. Zoradmo. What country is this? Okay. This looks healthy. But he's forced me to. Okay, I have to do something about the pieces here. Okay, that was smart. I have friends who are watching this stream and then they are like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Time is of the essence. I think I'll go to a 3 minute game so that it goes much quicker, man. We're waiting for these moves for so long. I want to undo this file here. Now this is the thing about putting pawns in the same file. It really messes up the game, and the kids see it. Okay, so I don't like what you're trying to do. So what I'm going to do is threaten you to go where you don't want me to go. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, oh no, oh no. That was shitty. Okay. No, but I do have advantage of time too. Thank you. He resigned. Uh, let's play one more 5 minutes. Okay. Yonulia. I think this is Israel from Israeli. I don't believe so. This is Israel. Yes, sir. Now people love this opening so much, eh? Really love this opening. I don't know what it's called. Why are you pretending to be a smart house? Okay, that was stupid. That was really stupid of me. But the good thing he has opened this file. Huh? Let's just do away with the. Hey, gold, my road. Okay, so that was anticipated. We will do that. He'll try to open up the queen or the bishop. Mm, mm. I think I have the upper hand in this game. Positioning. Okay, so the next position is about to be triggered. I'm not interested. I need to get my queen somehow to that region. How? How will I get my queen there? Okay. Ouch. Check. One more move, man. It's made for you. Okay, good game. Let's have it at 3 minutes. 3 minutes is much more interesting. Okay, so this is called Tikoi. What country is this? Indonesia. Is it an emergency? Okay, okay. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't like this guy here. I still don't like you there. Ouch. No, I'm still okay. Mm, let's thin out the crowd kidogo. How aggressive are you? Feel coy? How aggressive? Okay, me I'm aggressive. I'ma take your queen, man. So that I should have. Okay, thank you. Didn't see that. Oh my god. Okay, let's offer some protection. Hey, almost didn't see this. Okay. Ah, 17 seconds, man. Damn, damn. Just bro, who's this Bulgaria? You from Bulgaria, baba? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's share you a bit. I don't like this. Chest brush. Okay. Still not the crowd. That was a mistake, but it's okay. 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 You. He forked me, I forked him. So this is what you call a fork. Yeah, you have to choose one. What do you wanna do? What do you wanna do? Aye! Aye! Ouch! Ouchie! How could you make such a dumb mistake, man? Oh my lord. Okay. Focus. Am I check? I'm not gonna check. And this guy is about to gang up on me. Okay. Oh my lord, another mistake. I lost my queen so shitty there, man. Oh my lord. Damn. Okay. United States of America, we are trading XAU USD. Okay. Good morning. Howdy. How do Americans say hi? Howdy. American, I do believe you're still not awake yet. It's okay. And you? Let's push center. What do you want to do? I need to be much more cautious, man. This guy wants my knight so bad. Okay, thank you. Let's get this over with. We're still hanging around that region. Okay, so let's take that also. Okay. It will be really embarrassing if I don't win this. Yeah. Sitalord, Sweden, Denmark. One hour, like 1 hour, 55 minutes to Jerome Powell. Hey, bro, you're moving so fast, man. Give me time to push this thing. Give me time, man. You want me to play that to share? I'm very cautious about something like that happening. My lord. Okay, so this was the first mistake. Letting him come here was the greatest mistake. I should have just gone away. What did I think about it? What the heck were you thinking? Oh my lord. Mm. Again the same mistake, man. Okay, at least this time it's not me. Germany? German. Leo. How do you pronounce Germany in Germany? Leo, you're thinking too much. Leo. Leo, 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 Leo. You still have time. You have a lot of pieces to go. So the next 1 hour candlestick has opened. Now this is what I was talking about in the previous execution. Yes, it did take us out, but eventually you can see how the 1 hour did form a candlestick to the low side. Now this is what you would want to look at. Yes, the wick was somewhat elevated. The wick was like 160 pips, which is a lot. Which is a lot. Which is a lot of pips to hold the drawdown. So Leo is resigning. If I can go to my download, I do believe it was decent. Yeah. So my entry was like 30.76. My stop loss was around 30.81. So my stop loss was like 50 pips up. It was 50 pips. Now I couldn't have with that lot size that I was using. I couldn't have withstood the damage. The wicks do the damages. Okay, so we are going to activate the other position. Now this is the 1 hour. I like how this thing is opening. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. So Fed Chair, we are going to be streaming this on Bloomberg. I believe in Bloomberg. Let's see if it's going to activate it in the next one. They are mangoes from Marakwet. They are very tiny mangoes, but they are so nice. So let's see. Let's see. We are going to be activating the next position. We are in. It has tagged me in. I like it. I like it. Let's have a Fibonacci from this high to this low. Let's wait and see. 3100. 3100 coming up. So it has tagged me in the position. Let me just put my stop loss for safety. I don't want to lose the money I've made this week. Take profit is very healthy. Very healthy. I'm going to have it at 3100 for this position. So for this larger position, I'm going to have it at this anywhere in between. Let me just have it at 50. I do believe I'm going to use a psychological number. So 3090. 30.90. Okay, we are done. We are done. So it's a waiting game. It's 5, so 1 hour 45 minutes, 1 hour and 5 minutes to be exact for Jerome Powell's speech. Let's see what the market are going to do. Is the commitment of traders updated? I don't believe so. Back to Marakwet Maembes. Very potent. Hello. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I like how the price action is forming. I like it. I like it so much. I like it so much. Only one way to find out, eh? But so if you take out these highs, I'm going to advance my stop loss to break even to my entry price. If we do reach, this is risk management 101. If we do reach 30.61, I'm going to advance my stop loss into profit. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad at all. Okay, I don't want to jinx myself, man. I don't want to jinx myself, man. God damn, god damn. I don't want to play chess anymore. I've noticed when I play chess and then I'm in a position, mm-mm, it don't go so well. It don't go so well. We have another cup of tea. It's Friday night. It's Friday evening. Technically not yet night, but we can see. So looking at price action is very healthy. What are other assets doing? GU still struggling. Same as EU. US 30, US 100, the same. Dollar index. Okay, dollar index is gaining strength. It's getting back to this region of inefficiencies over here. This was the weekend gap, I do believe. So, yeah. No, this was Wednesday. This was the day before. This was the day for Trump Liberation Day. So this was the new day opening up. It's 5:07. Oh, we've forgotten to take a screenshot. No, funny thing, I usually have two gold here. I don't know which one is usually mine. Is it one? It's a Friday night, yeah? The markets could be very indecisive, yes. But at the same time, it can give us a bit of opportunities to close the week on a good note. So the highlight is going. NFP was. This is one of the weakest NFPs we have ever seen on Earth. Damn it, one of the weakest in terms of impact. Like from 330, where was 330? Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, okay, it's moved, but I no. Okay, 430 pips, but where was an entry price there? We did sell, eh? Remember we sold somewhere around this region and the market took us out within this first 30-minute candlestick. And then it went in our favor. Daily. Was it this one? No, it was this one. Our TP was 30.55. Very painful, eh? Not painful, yeah, but sometimes it gets to your nerves. Enter a position, market takes you out, goes in your favor. It's part of trading. But the thing is, you need to ask yourself, like, are you willing to? This is why small accounts are very difficult to trade with. You know, there are certain times whereby, and I'm sure for traders you face this scenario whereby you feel like, let me just remove the stop loss. There's this kind of demon over here. Here, let's just remove the stop loss. Well, you'll see wonders. I remember. I do believe I can remember the exact time. It was last year. Let me go to the H4 time. It was just around that period whereby Japan were starting to raise their interest rates. It was last year October. It was October, November. I do believe it was this price action here. It was this one. Was it this one? It was this one. It was this price action here. I'll never forget it. Yeah, this is my strategy. Yeah, it was this particular strategy, and I remember it so nicely. Whereby it was around, yeah, it was around October, November there when I was looking at the price action. There were equal lows in the markets I was looking at. I do believe it was this one. I do believe this was when Trump was this was something to do about Trump. This region here, I can remember it so well. I do believe this was when the elections were. When were the US elections? November 5th. Yeah, yeah, it was. I do remember it. November. Yeah, it was. I don't know. Yeah, you hit a very good stop loss. You'll never forget the date. It was, it was this day whereby I was looking at these equal lows and then I was like, yeah, the market will start retracing. And I don't remember this candlestick. Yeah, I don't remember this candlestick. Then I was like, let me just remove my stop loss. Yeah, it was a bad mistake. Looking at it right now, one of the deadliest mistakes I've ever done. And it was not only this one. There are several times. The other one was USD JPY. Let me pull up USD JPY. When they had just decided to start cutting rate to increase their rates. It was this period. Yeah, I don't remember it. July. Yeah, it was around that time. I remember I was in Troopers Mall. I was at Troopers Mall at that particular point. I can't remember the exact price action, but in one of these candlesticks in this region here, it didn't do me good, man. It didn't do me good. So prices are just lingering about. So sometimes you'll, and this is a good thing. I was about to show. Mhm. Let me pull up a USB device here. Where is it? So I have this USB device. I've been walking around with it for quite some time right now. So this was 2021. This was when I started journaling, huh? And this is what has enabled me to reach here. Like you can look at my charts. My charts are very different right now. If you can look at both, like look at this. This was what I used to do. So this was back in 2021. And there are so many. There are so many. Look at what I used to do. Like I remember this chart so well. This was February 1st, 2022. I do believe this was just a few days before Russia. Yeah, it was before Russia. Now there was this concept I was studying. You can see the charts of black, whereby there were these times whereby you when and for people I do believe you can relate with me on this. There were times whereby you see red candlesticks, you feel like it's going to sell. You see green candlesticks, you feel like it's going to buy. So to overcome that emotion, I changed all of my charts to be black. So this was at that period of time. Yeah, so I used to take a lot of screenshots. This was the 5 minute time frame. I no longer try the 5 minute because of something like this. I noticed that my win rate is slightly lower if I'm using lower time frames, but and I used to journal. So this was back when I noticed that gold and fundamentals, gold is a fearful asset. So most of the times it respects news releases. Like you can see at this time it was monetary policy, it was positive for the British pound. The other one was NFP. But NFP, yeah. So this was a while back. Now the good thing is, as a result of having these screenshots, you can know what to do and what not to do. I do believe around this region was when, yeah, this was it. February 24th, 2022. I remember this day very well. And very interesting. Very interesting. So you can sort of understand what works and what doesn't work as a result of what taking screenshots. Let's say like this trade example. No one knows what's going to happen next time. So you see this sort of price action play out, and then you ask yourself, okay, if I do enter a buy position here, what are the chances that it might hit my TP? And there's only one way to find out. So you do wait. Like this was trading candlestick patterns. So at that point, it was still trading candlestick patterns. Hello. I think tomorrow I'll go buy another screen. Ah, I didn't reply to the chats. So I think what I'll be doing is have the chats on my. So we are waiting for Jerome Powell in the next. an hour or so. I want to see. I think we can go over to YouTube, Bloomberg or something. Not at the moment, but so I was here. A lot of screenshots have been taken. A lot of screenshots have been. I've lost quite a significant amount of data. This was just gold. Back then, I was trading everything here. GU, Bitcoin, US30. I do believe US30 was my first asset to be looking at. So this is when I started journaling. I started trading back in 2020, but I started journaling way later because I was doing everything myself and it was not working out. It was not working out. So I've just seen my trade was nearly stopped out. Just nearly. So this is the H4 time frame. The H4 time frame has 2 hours 40 minutes to go. Let's see how it's going to behave. It's a USD. How low can I go? Well, yeah, the ball has to hit the bottom so that it bounces. It has to. This was very close, eh? Almost took me out. So I think we just 5 more games. No, six. 6 more games. 6 more chess games. It's chess. Or was that chess to me? Beautiful. So this is Lavin from Indonesia. What did I want to do there? Hide our king. I really struggle with knights. Like, I really struggle with knights. I don't know why, man. What have I done? I was supposed. Oh my lord! You weren't supposed to play there. Okay, focus, focus, focus. Dear, shit. Huh? This is just a game to survive. There's nothing else I can do, man. Lavin, baby girl, manipeleka mbio sana, man. What move do I have? Lavin finished the game, man. Yo, that was embarrassing. Supremo Brazil, you. Okay. I noticed the more games you play, the less I need to stop this. I need to stop this. I need you. I knew the moment it left the chart. What am I doing, man? knight has not moved. Okay, so this was a good, should I say a comeback? It's not yet a comeback here. We need to push. Hi, my lord. Okay. Let's weaken his morale. Is it a he or a she? Okay. Time saved by the bell. Okay, he did try recovering. Smarmello. Smarmello. Italiano. What vehicles are made in Italy? The Italiano is quick. And I thought I had Smaramelo. This is a bad thing about focusing on one side of the. Hey, Smaramelo! Whom am I playing against? India. In this game, one mistake. Now, this is something that I need to avoid, and I'm going to avoid it at all costs in this game. Filing my pawns in one single file. I need to go here. I need this place. Think. Hey, I'm making a lot of mistakes, man. I'm making lots of mistakes. Can't wait for the speech, man. We call it a Friday. Call it a Friday. But looking at gold, could we have that short-term retracement? Because if you're looking at the weekly perspective, the week the weekly perspective is still continuing to make new lows for the week. Now it's Friday. This is my speculation. What are the probabilities we might have a retracement? So what I'm going to do is do not try this at home. But I'll enter one more position. Just one more. Just one more. Just one. Very small lot size. Okay. And then this is what we'll do. This one was 30, 27. And one from the position around the horizon here. Take profit is going to be just about here. No stop loss. Okay. Let's wait and see. We have like 45 minutes to go. Now the speech started. Is it going to be the speech about the minutes? Yeah, it's going to be a speech. It's not going to be a minute. So it's the speech. The speech itself. Let me have my test profit over there. So he's about to speak of the jobs. He likes jobs so much. Last meeting they were like, people are not losing jobs, people are not getting jobs. So it was more or less equal. But today we will want to see what his tone is, especially after the tariffs. Huh? The last speech he had, he did mention that the markets are going to perceive the tariffs negatively. Eating fruits while trading is very good. It gives you the energy compared to eating something like rice. If you eat rice and then you eat fruits while you're trying to focus, then it's very different. So this is one of the longest stream, 2 hours 30 minutes into the stream. So let's see. At around 5:20 there, I do believe Bloomberg will start streaming. So all the stop losses are at stream. Take profit are at. This is negative RR. I know. Damn. But this is martingale, so no wahala. So yes, let's look at this document. Let's start digesting the data. As you all know, I'm a fundamental trader. So your recession fears roiled the US market after Trump's tariffs. What investors need to hear from Fed Powell on Friday. The Fed chair remarks and the March non-farm payroll, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. The US stock market was in free fall on Thursday. Yeah, it did tank. When you look at US 30, US 100, the dollar index, everything tanked following Trump's remark on Wednesday afternoon. So the following trading day, the markets were very tanking. They were tanking so much. The S&P 500 finished 4.8% lower to suffer its worst day since June 2020, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1,679 points, or nearly 4%. Oh, and or nearly 4% of the total index. And the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite slumped nearly 6% on that particular day. Small cap stocks also got slaughtered. So people's life savings were lost on Thursday. With the benchmark Russell 2000 index rattle 6.5% to finish at 1000. Now the Russell is really doing well. I remember there was a guy of mine who used to trade Russell so much. It was just making highs and highs and highs and highs and highs every day. Back in the days, that is. That was like a year ago. Yeah, I do remember he used to make money. He made a lot of money in 2024 with his bull run. Anyway, Vietnam, China, Euro, PTFs under pressure after Trump's reciprocal tariffs beyond the US stock market. Trump's latest tariffs also roiled markets for things like some international equities, crude oil, Bitcoin, etc. Even gold prices, which have been soaring recently as investors sought a safe haven. Now, this is why we trade gold, huh? Which have been soaring recently as investors sought a safe haven from market volatility, retreated from record highs on Thursday. US dollar tumbled very, very self-explanatory. Trump on Wednesday announced a 10% universal tariff on imported products from other countries, along with even higher reciprocal levies on dozens of trading partners, including the EU, China, and Japan. Now, when you look at automobile sales last month, when you look at retail sales, especially under the automotive sector did take a very big beating. When you look at Tesla, Tesla have not been selling vehicles. Now, if you make a product in your own company, you want your own country beneficiaries of that specific product. Now, when other countries like China are producing vehicles same as yours but at a cheaper price, then you are starving your own market of its own market. Okay, so what he is trying to do is put a lot of tariffs on everything that is being imported to make the United States less dependent on import. Okay, so that the own economy can generate enough value for its own. When you listen to Trump's speech Wednesday afternoon, there was this guy who was in Detroit, and Detroit is one of the places in the United States when you hear about muscle cars. Most of the muscle cars came from Detroit. Let's just look at a few of them. I know Dodge. Is it Dodge or vehicles? Muscle American vehicle. American muscle vehicles. When you look at all those movies, yeah, American Muscle, produced in Detroit. When you look at Detroit right now, it's so bad compared to what it was in the 60s and 70s. Uh, Produced in Detroit. So it was Ford Mustang. The only vehicle left right now is Ford Mustang. DM, DM. So 20 best full-size classic muscle cars. Now this is what he's trying to fight because American is pro-American. Yeah, these are the vehicles that were used to be produced in Detroit. And this guy who was speaking was like, yeah, when we grew up, they were very good vehicles, automobiles produced in Detroit, but right now it's only Ford Pekake. Now, One of the most notable, look at this, the Mercury Marauder, the Pontiac. Yeah, Pontiac was one of the companies in Detroit, but I do believe they went under. Everything because of what? The market in the United States was flooded with vehicles with cheaper alternatives from other countries, like the Buick. When you look at the Ford 7 liter, my lord, 7,000 cc, my lord. The Impala, all of these vehicles were being produced in Detroit. But right now, none of these vehicles are being produced. Why? Because of the influx, the flooding of the markets with cheaper alternatives from other countries, specifically China. If you look at the biggest imports of vehicles from countries, I think Mexico leads, then South Korea, if I'm not wrong, then Japan. So what he's trying to do is, no, 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 we can build our own vehicles. We were building our own vehicles before you came. But the problem is, you guys came in and flooded the market with much cheaper alternatives. And what he's trying to say is that the United States is taxed when vehicles enter into those countries, but they are taxed lesser when they are being imported to the United States. So he was like, no, 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 no. That's not going to happen. So what he's trying to do is revive Detroit and other suburban areas. When you look at Detroit right now, it's not the best place to be. I've never been there, but what you look at in the media, when you look at what's happening there, crime rate is high because there are no jobs. When you look at, especially Detroit is home to a significant number of black people, and when you look at the unemployment data, when you look at this data, the biggest percentage of people who are unemployed are actually blacks. So you can see here 6.2%. 6.2% are actually blacks. This is way more than the whites, 3.7%, 3.5% for Asians, and 5.1% for Hispanics. So black people in the United States don't have a lot of jobs. It's going to be good for these people because if they're going to tax tariffs from for goods and services from other countries, what it means it's going to boost the local economy. So even Toyota will be like, okay, importing vehicles to the United States is going to be much more harder. So why don't we just build our own production? We build more production facilities in the United States, which is going to boost economy. It's going to create employment. The economy is going to be self-sustaining in the United States. He also did mention about the weakening of other assets. Like Japan right now is trying to go against that because in the past, actually you're being paid to deposit money. They had negative interest rates. But right now, currently, they are moving towards hiking interest rates in the Japanese economy. Now, these have it does have an impact in the financial markets because where is money moving to? Remember, money is attracted to more money. So wherever there is higher interest rates, wherever there is more to be made, the markets usually head towards that position. And it's quite a balance of what needs to be done and what does not need to be done in terms of the fiscal positions that a central bank is having. When you look at Jerome Powell going to speak in the next 25 minutes, he is in charge of the central bank. Technically, he's in charge of the Fed. The Fed are in charge of the central bank. We want to see what he has to say. Remember, they need to work independent of politics, but it reaches a point whereby they have to step in also. Look at what is happening. Okay, Trump is increasing tariffs. What do we need to do as a central bank so that the economy is going to be balanced? Now, it's very difficult because you cannot implement something today and tomorrow you see it happen, especially when it comes to fundamental analysis. Sometimes in the market, it takes a bit of time. And you'll see these over a period of time because whenever investors are buying, people who have a lot of financial knowledge within them, they foresee problems. That's the greatest thing that they do. It's not that they are wise or something. No, no, no. It's they foresee problems, or they foresee what is going to happen that has not yet happened. So when you look at the Fed are going to look at this data, and there's usually a specific way. If you look at the CME, they are going to sit down in the next, I do believe, almost 30 days, 33 days to be exact, 3 hours, 1 minute. So the Fed are going to, it's going to be the next FOMC meeting where are we going to lower interest rates? Are we going to hike interest rates? We are going to know that in the next 33 days. Now, with before those 33 days elapse, a lot of data is taken into consideration, starting with everything that's happening piece by piece. This is why fundamentals. Now, people don't usually appreciate fundamentals, but fundamentals is one of the greatest things that can ever happen to you because it's pieces to the puzzle. Fundamentals will tell you where price is and where price should be. Okay? It's going to tell you A and B. It's not going to tell you how we are going to reach there. So you have to pick these pieces. Okay, tariffs, you place it. What are the most likely scenario? You come and look at what the Fed chair is going to speak today. You piece in the puzzle. Next week we are going to receive CPI. You put it into the puzzle. Retail sales, you put it into the puzzle. PPI, and so on. ISM manufacturing. All of this is supposed to enable you make better decisions in the financial markets. Okay, so with fundamental analysis, remember it's going to be the gap where price is and where price should be. It's never going to tell you how it's going to reach there. This is why we usually go to the technical aspect of things. We go to technical analysis and ask ourselves, okay, what are we looking at? What are the possible scenarios of what we are looking at? So the next 1 hour candlestick has started up. We do have less than 7 hours for this particular day to be concluded. 6 hours to be exact, for the first trading week of the calendar year, of the calendar month, sorry, to be concluded. So when you're looking at this data, remember, fundamentals, yes, it can be positive right now, but in the near future, does that mean it's going to be positive? So there has to be a balance. It has to be a balance of technical analysis has to come into play. Because at the end of the day, you need to have a stop loss. You cannot put a stop loss using fundamental analysis. So you ask yourself, okay, I'm willing to execute on this. I have an account that is of this size. What are the probabilities if I execute on this probability, risk an X amount of money, target an Y amount of money, then I'm going to be profitable if I repeat the same procedure over and over and over again. It's the little gains that you're after. It's the little gains that is going to make you substantial returns in the long run. Okay? I love geology so much, and particularly there's a place like 60 miles from where I live. It's a huge gorge, and then it's a rock. It's a dense rock. This is its name. Let me just try it. Let me show you. So it's called the Chebloch Gorge. Now this is a very interesting landmark. Where the Mayembes come from? My lord, life is a blessing. So it say that if you go look at the data, it's water that actually cut through rock. And for you to ask yourself, like, for water to cut through 71 meters of rock and 3 meters wide of rock, it didn't happen overnight. So it was slowly and slowly and slowly. I'm not saying that, but if you look at the correlation between the two, it didn't happen overnight. But right now we can see something that is magnificent. We can see something that is all dropped, all dropping. Like, wow, water did cut through rock. The same thing with the financial markets. Yes, the next trade can change your life, but you have to look at it from this perspective. Am I being realistic? You cannot retire in a single day. Yes, there are people who have made, when you look at George Soros, he made $1 billion. He's worth like 7, 8 billion, but there was a time he made $1 billion. when he shorted the British pound. He actually sent a lot of people home that day. But if you look at it, he raised more than, I do believe it was like 3, 4 billion on that particular day just to get a billion. Now people look at the billion he got, they didn't look at what was at stake. Because if that trade would have gone against him, he would have lost everything. And it reaches a point whereby in Forex, you have to listen to your gut instincts. You throw everything. Trust you me, the books, they are good. But it will reach a point whereby you throw everything out of the window. As much as people won't want me to say this, but yeah, you focus on your gut instinct. Yes, everything is needs to be calculated. You cannot just wake up in the morning and you feel like buying and then you buy. No, it doesn't happen that way. But there are times whereby you feel good about a particular execution. You feel there's something about, I today we are going to be buying. I today we are going to be selling. And if you look at George Soros, when you look at top traders who have existed in the past, Mark Douglas specifically, yeah, he did mention that it reaches a point whereby the easiest word to call it is luck. The best word to use is luck. What is luck? That's what he mentions. Luck is a phenomenon and belief that defines the experience of improbable events, especially improbably positive or negative ones. It is the force. Keyword, it is the force that seems to operate for good or ill in a person's life, shaping circumstances, events, or opportunities. The richest man in Babylon says that the persistent man is bound to get lucky in the long run. The more trades you execute, the higher the likelihood you're going to make money. And I was looking at that statement and I asked myself, how can I apply that? And the question boils down to, okay, there has to be an element of risk management. I had a scenario yesterday whereby a client blew the account. One of the traders, he blew an account. Today's NFP, you don't have an account. And then when you don't have an account, this is whereby most of the times the strategy, the probabilities, you're like, wow, this is if I could have entered, I would have made this amount of money. That's when everything seems to be so clear when you don't have an account. When you're broke, that's when you get all the business ideas in the world. Yeah. So it's always a balance. The the easiest and the hardest thing about financial markets is not the strategy, it's not risk management, maybe it's just you. How do you execute on a particular execution? What goes on through your mind before, during, after? And then that's what shapes you. Whether or not you make money in the forex market or not, it will define you as a person. You will know your greediness, you will know what you want in life as a result of trading forex. It's easy, but it's very easy to complicate it. If you look at my charts, they are very simple. I don't use anything else. I don't have any fancy terminology. You just look at possible scenarios that you can be executing on the marketplace. Very simple. Calculate risk management, execute. Only one way to find out. No one knows what's going to happen next in the financial markets. And once you master it, no one can ever take it away from you. One of my dogs is, I believe it's seen something. So We are currently in positions, eh? A bit of drawdown, but I'm willing to hold this position up to next week, if at all the speech is not that positive. Ooh, what did I do? So let's wait and see. We have like a few minutes, less than 27 minutes to go. Let's go over to YouTube. I do believe. Is the data updated for the commitment of traders? Not yet. It's usually updated 5 p.m. Sometimes it lags. So let's just thin out the. So whenever you want news, you just go to Jerome Powell's page. And then you look for something that's live. Okay, at the moment you don't. I believe Bloomberg will host it live, so we have to wait. We have like 15 minutes to go. How long are we into the stream? Whoa, 3 hours. Damn. Good deal. So when the time comes, we're going to click into the Bloomberg.
This environment on Apple.
Yeah, I'm really getting worried about how how
Tech White's
consumers will
1.4
react in
trillion
China
from
with
Nasdaq.
this thing.
Damn.
Because,
Nasdaq,
it's
where are
one
you?
thing to say that, okay, my phone buying has been pushed out by 3 months or 6 months or so. Okay, the
What's
demand comes
selling
back
then,
next
man?
year. It's not that big of a deal. But once you really get a bad feeling about a company or a
1.4
country,
trillion.
that sourness really impacts the fundamentals of it. We have seen what's going on with Tesla in Europe, for example. You don't want Apple to have that same feeling in China where consumers are saying, you know what, I don't want to touch an American brand. I would rather just buy the local one. And that's a very big problem in our view, because Greater China region accounts for 20% of Apple's revenue.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about now. We're not even talking super cycles anymore. I feel like 6 months ago it was like, no, it's coming. The next iPhone super cycle. To that point, we've already seen, say, Ford talking about discounting their cars to get people in the door. Is this going to be a similar case for Apple? Because they're not a discountery kind of thing.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the Apple CEO has played it very well when it comes to China. He has gone to China a few times. He's been seen with the commerce ministers. He's talking about investing more money here and there. And I think he's playing the cards right, because you really don't want the world's most lucrative market for your goods to basically have a very bad feeling about your products. Because at the end of the day, in the US, they really cannot grow much. It's a saturated market for them. Their growth rate will come from emerging markets, whether it's China or in a few years from India. But, they really have to play it nicely in China in order to show growth rate over the next 3 to 5 years.
In terms of overall tech spending, Anurag, how elastic is tech spending broadly defined? Is it something that these companies feel like they have to do no matter what? Or like advertising, we're just talking to Geetha Ranganathan, that is very discretionary spending on the part of a company. How about tech?
When you look at research and development,
I think you divide it in two categories. One is your growth capex, where you're going to invest for newer products. And that will remain the case. AI spending, let's say somebody is spending, $100 more, they will probably spend $95, $100 again. That's okay. But the problem comes in, now it comes at the expense of something else. You are going to upgrade the PCs in your department. That's not going to happen. You're going to push it out by 6 months. Servers, normal software that you use for day-to-day work. You're going to scale back on some of those elements. Consulting, is off the window at this point. I mean, I'd be very surprised to see consulting. One could expect layoffs coming in the consulting world over the next, few months, because if there is no work, these companies are going to cut out consultants. Whether it's McKinsey, BCG, or some of the other services companies. So you have to take money out from one to give it to the other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there rotation of money or just a non-spend of money altogether? Like, does one section spend more while the other spends less, or is this a true pullback?
It
was a mix of both. I think reallocation is definitely going to go, but I don't expect, if somebody is investing in AI to improve their operations, they're not going to stop that project. But to be very frank, that number as a percentage of total spending is still not that big for a large bank or a retail company. It's really the day-to-day work, and that's where you're going to see. Anticipating more layoffs coming in over the next 1.5 months from some of these vendors.
Oh man, that is a grim prediction on that point. How fast do you think spending could pick up? Like, what would be a trigger for a reset?
And obviously, the person
the news like Vietnam, please give me 5 more of those news releases, and all of this unturns and everything goes back to normal. Because frankly speaking, we are really on a thin line when it comes to business confidence. And I think really in our view, these things are really, they're playing with fire, because once it takes the spiral downturn, it's very difficult to stop it. So if it stops over the next few weeks, I think we can see a good end to the year. But otherwise, once the layoff starts, then it's a vicious cycle.
So is there any safe names in tech? I mean, is Microsoft the safe name?
That's a very good point, Paul. We have been thinking a lot about it, and discussions we have been having, and with folks like you, we've been saying that companies that are really exposed to the large enterprises, so the Fortune 500 companies or the Fortune 1000 companies, they will be less impacted than the ones that are impacted to the SMB spending. So I'll give you a very good example here is Shopify. Look at how it's completely been, decimated yesterday and today, because bulk of their consumer base or the client base is small and medium businesses. Now, somebody like a Microsoft or a Workday that deals primarily with larger companies and larger enterprises, a lot less disturbance in their revenue flow, they will also get hit. It's not that they're immune, but it'd be a lot less than somebody like a Shopify.
I also have to wonder if this change the ROI for AI, for example. Like, you got to prove it harder and faster in this kind of environment.
See, one of the things is that's still in the experimentation stage. So let's say if a company, if a bank is spending $100 in technology spending, in total, they're not spending more than $1 or $2 in AI. So it doesn't really, that doesn't move the needles. It's really the bulk, the big hardware purchases, big computer purchases. That's the one that, gets pushed
because the reason why Nasdaq
has Anurag Rana, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Anurag Rana covers all the technology for Bloomberg Intelligence, joining us from Chicago via Zoom here. Looking at the markets here, bouncing off the bottom here just in the last few minutes. The S&P 500 doing a little bit better, trying to get a little bit of life here. Down about 170 points, so we're down over 200 just a little earlier. Maybe a little bit on that Vietnam news that President Trump just kind of said. I think he said it in passing, and as he's getting off the helicopter down in Miami. He's going down there to his Doral Golf Club because the Live Tour is having their tournament there this week. So he's going to go be a part of that.
I see. He also calls on Fed Chair Jay Powell to cut rates. He says that Powell is always late. but that he should be cutting. And
after.
speaking of, at 11:25, Jay Powell will be speaking
From
prepared
8,000
remarks in a
to
moderated
nearly
conversation
80
at the Cebu
to let's say
annual conference in
81,000.
Arlington, Virginia. We will bring that to you in
That's a lot of
full.
money.
We will also
That's a
preview
lot
that
of
with
money.
Michael McKee, Bloomberg International economics and policy correspondent, coming up next. Taking a look then at the market, as
So we
Paul
have
was just
less
saying, you're
than,
seeing the
7
equity
minutes.
market off the lows. You're still seeing buying coming in, though, to the bar market. The 10-year yield is down by about 6 basis points. The 2 is down by about 7. So still a little bit of theme there into safe haven assets. Happy Friday. This is Bloomberg.
I would want to see a retracement on the daily candlestick. It's very volatile right now. Markets are very volatile. So we shall be focusing on gold, the fearful asset. We shall wait for it. But yeah, only one way to find out. So less than 5. Usually they're very good at timing. Like the Fed, much better in terms of keeping timing. Not a day I've ever noticed that these guys are very late to the party. So we're in. Let's see. Could we get 3100 before the end? That's quite far. 100 is quite far. 600 pips. Although gold can do that. Gold can do that. We have seen it do yesterday 1,000 pips in less than 8 hours. So let's wait for this guy. Like 5 minutes to go. I do believe it's going to take like 30 minutes because 3 hours, 4 minutes is not easy. But this is what it takes for you to make money in the financial markets. This is what it does take. Waiting, patience is key. Patience is the name of the game. So you can execute a position, go about your daily activities. That's why Forex is for everyone. But do I advocate for that? Nah. Like I've tried playing chess here and trading. Yeah.
Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, Bloomberg Television, and the Bloomberg Business app. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
And I'm John Tucker, the Bloomberg News with this Bloomberg Business Flash. Major stock averages tumbling, but actually off the worst levels of the session after the Bloomberg headline. According to President Trump, Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to 0. That's giving a list of some of the companies that produce their stuff in Vietnam. Nike, after yesterday's plunge, up over 4% right now. After falling over 20% for the peak, the NASDAQ 100 was on course to enter a bear market. And then this headline from the Bloomberg, Klarna pausing its planned IPO after Trump tariffs, according to the Wall Street Journal. This company, Klarna, provides e-commerce payment systems. Waiting for headlines from Fed Chair Powell, set to speak in a few minutes. No pressure here ahead of the remarks. President Trump says perfect time for him to cut rates. We know the history of presidents beginning of monetary policy. Not a good one. Think Arthur Burns. S&P 500 down 174 points, down 3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 1,046 points. The Nasdaq 586 points lower.
Yeah,
Down
intraday, that's 2.5% of our total index. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's your Bloomberg Business Flash.
All right, thanks so much, John Tucker. Appreciate that. And speaking of, we will have Jay Powell speaking in just a few moments' time, discussing the economy. He'll be speaking with Savvy Board President James Nelson, business editor of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and Heather Long, an economic columnist at the Washington Post.
And just some more news coming out as it relates to the volatility in the marketplace. Klarna and StubHub, they've paused their planned IPOs after the Trump tariffs. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. So another ripple effect there.
I feel like, wasn't Klarna like trying to IPO for like ever, 2 years at this point? I mean, the tape just keeps getting worse and worse here. Okay, so let's get some economic take and so what we make into.
I want the live speech, man. Okay. So when this starts, the most expensive greetings on earth. The most expensive greetings that moves markets. It shakes people. Stop losses are very attractive. Mr. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. Very interesting guy. If you listen to, he can read a word from right to left. You give him this statement, he can he can read it from behind moving forward. Very smart person. I am not that smart, but inshallah we get there. We shall get there. So I do believe right now is when they are sitting. Let's wait and see. Now remember, my local time is UTC +3. Yeah? So whatever place you are in, ensure that you convert it to your local time zone. But yeah, so especially the interactions, the question and answer is where I would want to be very fascinated, to be very keen into what he's going to mention. But this guy really moves markets. Right now, Trump is taking over that mantle, but this guy moves the markets. By the way, we are in $500 loss right now. My road. It should be anytime soon. It should be anytime soon. Hey, CNBC bana, we are waiting for you. Oh my lord.
Fed's reaction function once again coming through. But if we think about
patience. Should have started by now. It should have started by now. It's never been this late.
.2% in March, still in the low range where it has held since early last year. Over the first quarter, payrolls grew by an average of 150,000 jobs per month. The combination of low layoffs, moderating job growth, and slowing labor force growth has kept the unemployment rate broadly stable. Turning to the other leg of our dual mandate, inflation has declined sharply from its pandemic highs of mid-2022. It has done so without the kind of painful rise in unemployment that has often accompanied periods of tight monetary policy that are needed to reduce inflation.
The majority of the
more recently, progress toward our 2% inflation objective has slowed.
The interaction aspect.
Total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in February. Core PCE prices, which exclude the volatile food and energy categories, rose 2.8%.
PCE did
Looking ahead, higher tariffs will be working their way through our economy and are likely to raise inflation in coming quarters. Reflecting this, both survey and market-based measures of near-term inflation expectations have moved up. By most measures, longer-term inflation expectations, those beyond just the next few years, remain well anchored and consistent with our 2% inflation goal.
These economic impacts are going to be
We remain committed to returning inflation sustainably to our 2% objective. Turning to monetary policy, we face a highly uncertain outlook with elevated risks of both higher unemployment and higher inflation. The new administration is in the process of implementing substantial policy changes in 4 distinct areas: trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. Our monetary policy stance is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties we face as we gain a better understanding of the policy changes and their likely effects on the economy. It is not our role to comment on those policies. Rather, we make an assessment of their likely effects, observe the behavior of the economy, and set monetary policy in a way that best achieves our dual mandate goals. We have stressed that it will be very difficult to assess the likely economic effects of higher tariffs until there is greater certainty about the details, such as what will be tariffed, at what level, and for what duration, and the extent of any retaliation from our trading partners. While uncertainty remains elevated, it is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. The size and duration of these effects remains uncertain. While tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation, it's also possible that the effects could be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome would depend on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored, on the size of the effects, and on how long it takes for them to pass through
So what
fully
are
to
you saying? We are
prices.
going to hold the rates for
Our
long?
obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored, and to make certain that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation problem. We'll continue to carefully monitor the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We're well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. It is too soon to say what will be the appropriate path for monetary policy. We understand the benefits of a solid economy where workers can find jobs and inflation is low and predictable. We also understand that elevated levels of unemployment or inflation can be damaging and painful for communities, families, and businesses. That is why we at the Fed will continue to do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Yeah, so that's what I've been waiting for.
All right, that was Fed prepared remarks, Fed Chairman Jay Powell. And now to some Q&A from the Cebu conference. I believe they're in Arlington, Virginia. So we'll wait for the Q&A to begin.
It feels like quite a moment to be speaking with you. I want to thank you for your time. He's got it. I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to speak with this group of business journalists. Also like to give a special thanks to Heather Long with the Washington Post, who helped make this event possible. So for starters, sir, how's your week been?
Just fine, thank you.
Care to elaborate?
So far, so good.
Chair Powell, yes, thank you so much for being here and taking our questions. You were talking about the economy as being a very strong economy. You characterized inflation as coming down, employment as being very strong still. However, President Trump earlier this week, when asked about the market volatility we've been seeing, said the volatility was, quote, to be expected. This is a patient that was very sick. We inherited a terrible economy. A lot of voters did and do agree with that assessment, or at least in part. I'm wondering how you would respond to that assessment and the disconnect between the story of the data and the way a lot of people are feeling about the economy.
Sure. So let me just be clear at the start. I make it a practice not to respond to any elected officials' comments. So I don't want to be seen to be doing that. It's just not appropriate for me. But the situation, I think, is this, and people, when they're surveyed, they are unhappy about the economy. That seems to largely reflect the increase in the price level that happened when inflation was high, 2021, 22, and 23, largely. Inflation is now back down to much more normal levels. Unemployment is low. The economy has been growing, but people are still experiencing that high price level. In other words, prices don't go down. They know they're paying much more for the basic necessities of life, and they're right that they are, and they're not happy about it, and they're right not to be happy about it. So I think that accounts for the negative sentiment. We, of course, we're looking at inflation, which is the change in prices, and we're seeing that that has come down quite a bit, and that unemployment is actually low. It's sort of very close to measures of maximum employment, and the economy is growing. So all those statistics are good, but the price increases of the past few years are weighing on people's budgets.
So I'm from Milwaukee, and I've been talking to business leaders, executives, and consumers in our community, our region, for the last few weeks, mostly before this week's news. Chairman, they're troubled and they're nervous. One business owner told me, if there's a hint of a recession, we're cooked. And he asked me to share that with you. What's your response?
So I guess I would say, let's start with the fact that the incoming data right through this morning's employment report, which admittedly is from roughly a month ago, the week of March 12th, they took the data, and it still shows us a solid economy. Unemployment's still low. I understand the uncertainty that's weighing on people. You ask about a recession. We don't make a probability forecast of how likely it is for there to be a recession, but many outside forecasters do, and many of them have raised the likelihood, albeit from very low levels. It's not something that anybody now is forecasting, or some people are starting to. And so there's not much more I can say about that. I realize that the uncertainty is high, and what we've learned is that the tariffs are higher than anticipated, higher than almost all forecasters predicted. We still don't know where that comes to rest, though, and we're just going to have to see that through.
At a congressional hearing last year, one of the U.S. representatives said that you were pretty boring, and you thanked him and said that you considered that a very high compliment. And in fact, I feel like it's one of the roles of the Federal Reserve, especially since the housing crisis, to be kind of a ballast, especially in the face of the volatility of the markets and the dramatics that we can experience with the economy. Very steady, no surprises, very reliable. In a moment like this, which also has a lot of drama and unpredictability, but it is not necessarily from an economic crisis. It's by design, it's political. How do you see your role in this moment?
So I think all of the values that you touched on are, in fact, the values that we try to live by. We're driven by, analysis and careful thought.
But looking at the daily perspective, we might see a retracement back. If you look at the weekly candlestick, this will be before the day closes. I want to see at least a short-term retracement for this particular candlestick. Now, I'm in positions currently. I will share screen records. It is not looking good, but hope is a dangerous game. So we are going to leave these positions running. It's Friday night. You know what it is. Go have some bit of time with other people. May God protect you, may your enemies respect you, may death neglect you and your families. Stay safe. Patani Kishu.